Hello and welcome back to the Perfect Chaos Podcast. We are here on the third and final day of the Tennessee EMS Education Association. And before we get started with the old man, that was his.
That was me.
Yeah, that's not me. That's actually on television too.
Yep.
He allowed John Becker to say that. It's like they
The
call
old
you
man?
the old man. You know why?
Because I'm the old man.
Because he's the old man. But before we get
You're not
started,
that old.
I am when you line me up with my soldiers.
Well, but,
well,
I
that's a
mean,
different story.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
that's because you killed the ones that were as old as you.
Oh, no.
They're gone.
Yeah, at least not that I'm
They
admitting on a
weeded
lie.
out.
They
They weeded out. Yeah.
Weeded out. There you go.
All right. So before we get started with the old man, we've got an announcement to make for
Yes.
especially anybody that is here. We will be posting this, but go ahead.
It is already posted
It is already posted
on Twitter.
Wow.
You can get to it on Twitter. Well, some of us had to work while you were doing
Working.
whatever it is you've been doing all day.
Nothing. I do nothing.
I know. So there's a brand new shop to get Perfect Chaos merch. You can find it at perfect-chaos.merchologysolutions.com. I know that's a lot. I haven't put it on the website yet, but it is on Twitter. So you can find it and go there.
Processed weekly. So
It's going to process weekly. So you can order, and then once a week, they'll ship everything out. And
some awesome merch. You got some quarter zips, shirts, blankets for
There's
anybody.
blankets.
So next year
for
when we're at
next
the
year for
conference,
TIMSA, because all I've heard
anybody
is how
that's
cold it is.
they can bring in their Perfect Chaos blanket.
Right? Maybe that's
mugs
next
and-
year. We'll bring some blankets to sell.
just right outside the door.
Yeah, that's-
We walk inside and break. All right, we're done with the first break. Great session. We've got some blankets here.
That's how I'm going to get my lake house, Tracy Banta.
There you go. I think you can do it.
I think I could.
All right, so we'll make sure to post all that. But we welcome Tracy Banta. Now, Tracy is a good friend, and we've known each other for quite a while now. But let everybody know who you are, other than Tracy Banta.
Well, I'm in the Army National Guard full time. I've been doing that since 2007, but I've been in the Guard since 1990. I do a lot, I think, for the community. I really enjoy helping teach. I really enjoy getting out there with us military or civilians, and they go hand in hand because
Right.
we work together.
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of soldiers that are citizen soldiers. They're out, their main money is made out here working and saving people's lives out here on the ambulances, fire. And so we get a chance to get out there and perform some extra training and things of such like that with those folks through our training site out of McGee Tyson there with the medevac. So I've been doing it a long time. I enjoy it. I love it. I love people. And, I just thank you for having me here today.
He's the coolest guy ever.
And he's actually in his actual true camouflage today.
I am.
Everybody normally recognizes him in his camouflage, but now he's wearing some civilian clothes today.
And it's
It only
nice.
took me 2 days to recognize him without his camo on.
Yes.
There's been one other that I very easily recognize. He cut his hair this year, and I actually walked past. It wasn't until I
It's a
recognized
thing.
it.
I mean, it is
it's you got that appearance.
But at least today, I mean, this is the normal color.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
got some
we're-
green in
We
there.
got some green, we got some khaki. We're
We're getting closer
getting close.
because I've got to put this on tomorrow. So
Oh, okay.
military uniform tomorrow.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, see, there you go.
I'm just kind of easing my way.
Easy-
back.
easy way back into the
It's like
colors.
a bit of progression throughout the last couple.
The good news
Absolutely.
is it matches your skin tone. So
There you go.
you're
There you go.
it works
that's
for
part
you.
of the old guy. He's transitioned. He's been a chameleon through his career. He's been able to
Did
adapt
you
his
quit
body.
calling
Adapt and
him the
overcome.
old guy?
Oh no, I love it. That's they just like hey, don't bother Sergeant Banta today. He's the old man. Leave him
He's
alone.
always
He's
got-
old man, leave him
He's got
alone. Lord.
he's in his nap time right now.
There you go. Kindergartners and old people, we have a thing in common now.
All I know is
I don't know why we dismiss that in between those two periods.
I'm telling you, I
You know,
love it.
they've got it down.
I got- I
they
did
got the
not-
siesta down south.
Yes, they do.
That
Yes.
we really should implement.
Yes, yes, in Japanese,
Yes.
they have that, like an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
you gotta-
course, they work a long time.
Oh, they
Right.
do.
But in EMS, we work.
Yeah,
We
I know.
work all the time anyway.
in teaching,
They don't
it's like that,
teaching
you
the
know.
same way. It's like,
Um,
all right,
I don't know why we never wanted to take a nap.
Yeah.
It was a fight,
Yes.
yes.
and now it's like, oh,
It's a fight to stay away.
I know, right? I
It's like,
mean,
do I have to stay awake?
do I have to?
Can I not just go to bed? I'm gonna
Right.
cry. You
I
know,
would
it's
be
like,
in trouble if I had ever taught kindergarten because, and although they don't do this I don't know if y'all know this, kindergarten no longer gets to take naps in
yeah,
most
it's
places.
out now.
Even pre-K doesn't typically get to take naps. But if I had been one of those old school kindergarten teachers, I feel like I would have had me a little mat to curl up on with the children.
Put a little vibration sensor under each of them, so if they woke up,
Yes,
it wakes you
It
up.
told you that, hey, they're up.
Lock the door. Have like a class dog that
Yes.
patrols or something. Probably not.
Lays with them and put them back to bed. It's like, oh, come here.
Not like a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois. That might be a little too much between them and the 5-year-olds.
Probably want a Chihuahua, something to make a little noise if something went crazy.
Oh, I don't think I want a Chihuahua
That
though.
wakes all of them up. Man.
Well, there you go.
Oh, so this has really gotten off to the title, Perfect Chaos. We're nowhere near what,
Well,
but we are
We're
talking
about education.
strategies
about
here.
education.
Yes.
At a young age.
At a
And
young
we're trying to
age.
catch them at a young age.
Yes. And in reality,
Let them take a nap.
I mean, I'm going to speak as someone that teaches undergrads and grad students. There's really not that much difference
No.
between kindergarten. They just get bigger and the problems get harder to deal with.
Yes.
That's it.
At
There's-
EMS, we go in and we hope we get an app.
yeah.
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 So,
Y'all, yeah. I mean,
We probably
right.
need it.
When you're on shift, if you can get 2 hours, that's considered a good day, right?
Yes.
Amen. Because that may be all you get.
Yeah.
Maybe all you get.
All right. So let's talk about your background in teaching. What all have you?
So
How
I
did you
guess
come about teaching? Actually, let's start there.
the military. Obviously, as a medic, they incorporate us into combat lifesaver courses. So we did a little bit of that. We did a lot of that when I was first in the CAB in '92 to '95. Before that, I was in the first Gulf War. So I really was brand new, straight to the military. Went overseas, came back, and then I got in a armored cavalry regiment, the headquarters unit.
You saw your Stetson?
No, I never wore the Stetson.
Really?
I always made fun of
Stetson
people.
and Spurs.
I always made fun of the people with Stetsons because I asked them if the rodeo was in town. So I didn't last long in the cab. So
I was going to say, that's like automatic discharge information.
there was that. Yeah. So anyway, now Dez is proud of his Stetson and his Spurs, and that's okay, but that's not me. So
I'm trying to picture you in a Stetson at this point. I'm paying attention, but in my mind,
The glasses are helping you
I'm
imagine
drawing
psychology.
the
cowboy hats. I mean, that's not New Mexico, Texas, any of those places out west. So
I do have a picture of David in a cowboy hat.
I'm not going to say I've never wore one. I'm not going to say that I've never, had a picture with one, but
Or
this is not my thing.
All right, so a non-Stetson wearing Cab Scout.
Cab Scout as a medic.
my
Anyway,
brother's a Cab Scout. I've never seen him in a.
so we did a lot of training there with a lot of the guys, a lot of the medics. So I really that's kind of where I got my foot in the door with training was the new medics that were coming in. They wanted to sustain our medics that were there. So we did a lot of just in-house medic training with our PA and our doc. And I got off in the medevac in '96, and then that changed everything. It was a lot more involved. And when our unit was in Chattanooga, so it was a lot more training. We were very small then. We only had like 6 medics. So there we all worked together to train. We went to Erlanger a lot when we were in Chattanooga. And then obviously we went on to Knoxville, to UT, and then over to Vanderbilt. So really got indebted for those level 1 trauma centers. So I really didn't start getting into civilian teaching until 2014. Donna Tidwell was there. I applied for an IC position. Well, I already had my bachelor's degree, so we'll just go ahead and put it for program director. And that way you'll have it. And then if you ever want to do something down the road with it. So I did. And I worked for Randy White there at TSU. That was where I really got my foot in the door as basically assisting Randy White there in EMT and AEMT. And then obviously went to our own state. You and Kirk gave me my first job at a college per se, where you're actually in tuned and kind of really haven't looked back. So, and then we have a training site at our flight facility as well. And that came about in 2017. So we do a lot of outreach training programs, TCCC, PHTLS, MLS, and AHA classes as well.
So how different is it when you teach military versus when you teach civilian?
We really try to say there's no difference, but you really do when you got rank, you've got
Right.
structure per se. Where here, a classroom type setting that you have here in the civilian setting, a little bit different.
Right.
Colorful metaphors go a long way in the military. We use those, and it
Yes.
keeps people kind of moving.
Yes.
Here, it's a little different.
And you don't get as many phone calls about that.
I know you don't. Not even a little bit. So,
It's just part of it.
it is. But But I think ultimately, the just culture is really kind of showing in the military more and more now too. So you really want to treat everybody with respect, and just because you outbring somebody that you got to do this because I said that. So I think we're seeing a little bit of easement there. But ultimately, we're training our replacements. And that's really what I think about when I go out there with these kids, and they're different. I mean, they're just a different breed, which is okay. I remember when I first got in the military. I remember an old Vietnam vet. He was smoking a cigarette, looked at me and said, "Man, I'm gonna really hate when you guys are running this outfit." And I was like,
thanks.
I was always kind of stuck with it. But you know what? That old green tank wheel just kept going. That track just kept moving forward. And I think it'll do that with the younger generations. So, but ultimately, Jason Fox, really good friend of mine. I mean, he's always a kind word, gentle touch. That goes a long way with our patients, but I think it also goes with our students too.
Absolutely.
Treat them like somebody who's going to get something back. So, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell. And we're done. No. All right. So what have you found to be some of your So what do you find is some of the best ways that you've been able to connect with those individuals? Maybe what would be considered wayward that aren't really paying attention or not engaged? How have you found best?
Yeah, we're always talk about flipping classrooms. We talk about engaging them to where they actually are really teaching the class, getting them involved. But ultimately, a lot of these kids, they really want hands-on. They really want to, they could read this paper all day, or they can read a textbook, or look at PowerPoint. It just doesn't sink into some of them. But when they put their hands on things, they can understand specificities of what they're doing. But if you really mix that training with some hands-on while you're doing it, I think it really helps. And I've got more, I think, from that by those kids actually getting a chance, because they got to be good at their craft. And unfortunately, we do a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Unfortunately, when you go out here and you work this field, we practice. And, I think we've all learned from mistakes, and that's how to be able to do it. But I think, we don't want to just, it's not cookie cutter here with what we do. I mean, so you've got to try to find out. They have to know the computer. They got to be able to take a test, but they got to be able to put their hands on it and do it too. And, we're blessed at Lone State to have the material, have the hands-on devices to be able to let these kids actually put their hands on it and use it. So I really enjoy that. Have an ambulance simulator and everything that we have there is just awesome. So I really appreciate David.
Hold on, let me give him a lot. And not only that, it's been 2 years with that. We're going to have even more with the new campus coming. But
yeah, and that'll be awesome. I think that's simulation is great. I mean, you could just about. I think you could just about on a simulation mannequin. You could go do just what they would go out there and see out there.
Right.
And I think you could go. You're good.
And it's one of those areas we can't really test it on people. It's frowned upon if you're going to teach them how to work on somebody that's like upside down in a vehicle, to actually have someone wreck their vehicle and be injured and upside. That is frowned upon. So yeah, it's a simulation. I do think it's interesting when you're talking about trying to engage the students. One of the things that, I mean, you've heard me talk a ton, and I'm all about let's just sit in a circle and get to what we need to know. But I think I have this theory that when we went to school, there was tons of information out there. It was kind of hard to get to, and so the way to teach us did not have to be. I know I had some great teachers that were really engaging, but it didn't have to be as engaging because we didn't have any other way to get that information. Whereas now, I mean, they've got more power in their phone than we could have ever dreamed about having, even in our school library, in big libraries, big, nice, And I think that's when I talk to people and they say, my kids, they don't want to pay attention. They just want to, and I'm like, okay, but what are you giving them that if you're using the textbook provided PowerPoint and you're going over word for word what was in the textbook, why are you there? Because they can read, they can have the textbook read to them. I mean, that's not and I think that's a lot of people get really frustrated with, well, I don't want to entertain. It's not entertaining, it's engagement.
Sure, absolutely.
And to me, and it is hard because that's not what we grew up with. But then if we go back and think about it, I mean, because we were talking about kindergarten earlier, that's where my head is, right? But I mean, I can remember in kindergarten and having like, Miss Sharp, she had this, what would now be called like a flat Stanley, but and we learned all about the world with this little guy on a popsicle stick, and the different centers that we would have in kindergarten. And we had a cornmeal table instead of a sand table because cornmeal's easy to get off. And you would go and you dig, and like I can remember in kindergarten learning about how people found dinosaur bones. Now, did she sit there and say this is archaeology? No, but she would hide stuff in there, and we worked, and it's still the same thing. It's the same thing we've always done. It's just that the kids now have access to. I keep pointing at my computer, even though it has literally the store on it, not any good information. I mean, it is good information, but nothing we need to learn. But because they have this and they have these, it forces us as teachers to be able to take what's written and turn it into real world, right? So I had this thought on this, which I loved that that's where you went, because I literally woke up at 2:30 this morning with this thought. In a way, all good teachers are like little mini Walt Disneys. We're really all Imagineers. I mean, and I'm like a huge Disney freak, so that, Tracy's like, I am not an Imagineer. You are an Army-issued Imagineer, drink that. You know what? You've done so good. You wore real clothes this year. Next year, by Timson, next year, I'm going to have Tracy Banta in these sunglasses that you can just trade off. By the way, I do have a question for you that has zero to do with education. I think you can. I don't have to have security clearance for this. So,
and if you do, then I have it's whether I have the need to know or not.
Well, I do have the need to know. So, we had this scavenger hunt going. Did you know that you were part of the scavenger hunt? You were the bonus question.
Did anybody come take a picture with you? Okay. They didn't get it.
Carissa didn't get to you.
Nope.
So Carissa won the scavenger hunt. She had done those things. But so I had all these cute things for questions. Take a picture with the board member, take a picture with the charter member, and then I put a bonus question.
You remember when I sent you a text?
Yeah.
So you got a text for this?
Yeah.
This is why.
I was wondering. I was like, maybe just going to be there.
Right. Well, he did, because I wanted you to be here. Because
Not right this second.
I'm his boss. I trust everybody. So the bonus question was to take a picture with either Tracy Banta or Roger McGee, but don't tell them why you're taking a picture with them, because neither one knew that they were part of the scavenger hunt.
So it may still happen.
It could still happen. I don't know, next year I think we might have to put Geo in it.
Absolutely.
We'll
test if you listen to this to know whether.
I know.
If he doesn't show up, Gio would be waiting there. He'd have a shirt on. Take a picture with me.
I know. I know about that. I feel like people probably try to take pictures with Gio a lot. I feel like
Gio likes
does Gio like to take pictures? I feel like he is quite the.
Now for Tracy, he's got to have more production value. But Gio's just like take a picture, The staging that we did when he had his service and sacrifice with Channel 10, he had to
with Tracy?
And he had to make sure the lighting was just right. He had a lot of people power with him.
I want to make sure that the ambulance simulator, and my 3 students in the back that were like the best in the class.
Yeah, that's, I was about to say, I know Tracy Banta.
It ain't me, it's about those guys.
I was about to say, I know Tracy Banta. He was turning that right and putting on students. Because to be fair, I have not heard much about Army classes. I have heard how Air Force classes happen. And
There's not as much cultural importance.
well, first off, I think they have more comfortable chairs.
No. That's no.
We're gonna get a little bit of rivalry. No, I'm just
I'm
serious.
saying, we get their stuff that's like supposed 2 or 3 years old. It's almost like it's brand new.
Yes.
Okay.
I know, right?
So, real quick, when y'all came over, and Eric was over there with me, he sent me a text message. Your DFAC is phenomenal. And I'm like, really? So, yeah. So, we absolutely love it. I go, hey, have you seen that line of cars going on? At lunchtime every day.
That's why the Army uses this, the DFAC.
I know, right?
She's like, what do you mean?
But I feel like, from what I have heard about Air Force courses and what I know about military in general, and I don't know if you noticed, I had a student that was a Marine. He's going to graduate from crayons. So, that's kind of what I was going to roll with. So I think I'll get some nasty. Okay, before I get Marine crayons. No.
But it's made from
Oh, yeah, we're going to find that. We're going to find that. Just Clay, if you're listening.
So first off, it's Clay. We left the military.
Air Force,
Army, family first.
and my son's a former Marine.
My dad was a career Marine.
So this is all right.
So, yeah.
I do feel like I can confidently say that most military courses are not necessarily a student-centered design. And I feel like, because I know you, and I have seen you in teaching action, and heard you in teaching action, you are a very student-centered teacher. So is that hard to, or do you just teach the way you want to teach and make sure that you're
I think pretty much for us, the Army is big about, I got a curriculum, we train through the standards and stuff.
Right.
And so that's how we're kind of
Yeah.
navigate around this water.
Right.
Per se.
Because, and I'm asking
Again, it's all about craft.
Right.
And those guys save some money, lives.
Right.
So, a lot of those are C classes,
Right.
big CLS.
And I'm asking that because a lot of our K-12 teachers, B-12 teachers now, are being handed, here's your curriculum. It's a script. And that is kind of a struggle. And I feel like that's one that you understand because you've done, here's how we're teaching it. Everybody the same thing all the way across the entire Army, whoever we're doing. But you've found a way to still be very student-centered in your approach and in your relational teaching.
But I want to take it a little bit further because Tracy kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. Have you seen TraDoc starting to change their mentality in training? And because the reason why I mention this is Army is very traditional. Many years old, they've been doing things certain, and now we're seeing the population change.
Absolutely.
And so if you see that training side start to say, hey, you got to adopt something or adapt to something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason why I say that is, if somebody like that has been around the founding education systems, because that's what it is. If they can change,
Right, anything can change.
right?
I mean, that's, and I'm not knocking that ugly, but like, if in my mind, if anything that is a governmentally run entity, which means red tape and 47 steps to change light bulb and those types of things.
And then go back and go back over.
Yeah. And then go back and act like and say, is this the best light bulb we could have had? Or should we give up, and then try to
And then you got the arms, that's going, do we need this?
Right.
You don't need that light bulb.
So, our change.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But so with that, change can occur.
Yeah.
And even within that, even if you have very experienced, you can meet those standards with different methods and still be within that. So, mine was just, there's flexibility.
Right.
If you're with a school district, this is the way it is. Like you said, it's very scripted.
Very scripted.
There's ways to amplify that.
Right.
Your personality.
Right. And the way that you, even when it's scripted, just the way that you help your students and relate to your students. But, I mean, I guess in my mind, it's something that is that driven organization can change because there is a recognition that, you know what, our people are changing. Our students are changing. Things don't work the same anymore. Then surely goodness, we can do it too in education. Lord, we said his name. And here he comes. Oh, Gio. You are the one to get it in. If you want to see Gio on the Chaos Podcast next year, you let us know. We're going to have to be careful what kind of poll. Hey, I got to run. You talk about flat family. So can you drink as well as flat family? Yes. I was praying. I was listening to music.
That's my card.
Tracy, more extra. It's been like being right here in the corner. I can hear and see everything happens with him. But I can also hear the amazing worship music that's happening back here. I feel like I'm in church for everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's great.
They've been over here. Conversations.
Absolutely. And I did say on that way yesterday. We were all talking about how the funky weather. Well, so what's going to happen? Well, I know is I'm full of preachers and paramedics. I'm
You want to preach.
And I like, if you came there, David's going to say this for you.
He's a friend.
All the time. I remember at one point, I was a member of a group on Facebook. It was like Knoxville crime, whatever. And I was scrolling through Facebook. There is a stone there.
The RV is going on.
Yeah. That was the. I mean, were all. They said something that happened in Knoxville. The army is coming.
They're really good.
The sad part is on there because I do. You know, and I said, oh, everything's okay. It's a training exercise. You're not going to. No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't but that was good. Y'all were like,
that was the process trying to rip out the facility.
Well,
I just know the rules was they had the lower lights I take off.
why's that? Tracy Banta. I feel like, you know what? Do you know my top Santa Paws? Yes. Our new baby, her name is Summit. She's a white hearing ass. I'll just bring her over to you. Here, I'll show you. Everybody on podcast has seen her, but that's my baby. She looks just like Santa Paws. So she's gonna be a therapy dog. She's in training to be. So see.
All right. So,
Thank you, Tracy.
and for all of our listeners, remain calm, chaos.
That's all.